Hello students, today we will be looking at the electrostatics of the conductors. So without wasting any time, let us just go to the electrostatic behavior of the conductors. To understand this, let us first understand the structure of atom and how the free electrons are generated from the atom of a conductor. So usually the free electrons are the electrons in the valence band of the surface atoms of the conductors. So in this case we have considered an atom. Now remember one thing, all atoms remain at ground state at the absolute temperature, that is at 0 Kelvin, and hence they don't show any kind of conduction at 0 Kelvin. But at room temperature, that is at 300 Kelvin, they actually gain sufficient amount of thermal energy in order to emit the electron which is present in its valence band. That is, the valence electrons gain this particular thermal energy and they get free from the surface atoms, but still they will be bound to the surface of the conductor. That is, they are free from the atom of the surface atoms on the surface of the conductor. However, the free electron which has been emitted out of the atom is now actually bound to the surface of the conductor due to the positive charge which appears on these atoms. So thereby the electrons are now free to move on the surface of the conductors. However, they will not be able to free themselves from the conductor surface itself. So these electrons we call them as the free electrons. Now let us also understand the behavior of the free electrons in the absence and in the presence of an external field. That is, let's consider a conductor. So we have considered a conductor over here, and if we are not going to apply any kind of electric field in this case, we can see that the electrons are in random motion. That is, they will be moving around in all the directions. At the same time, they will be having different velocities. However, if we are actually going to apply an external field, as you can see here, in this case the electric field is from right to left, whereas the electrons actually are aligned uniformly on the surface of the conductor and they are actually drifting in the direction opposite to that of the electric field. That is, whatever the direction of external electric field is, in the opposite direction the electrons get drifted. And this is how the free electrons move when an external field is applied to the conductor. So this is about the behavior of the free electrons. Now based on the behavior of the free electrons and certain properties of conductors, we are going to learn about the electrostatic properties of the conductors. So first property is that the electrostatic field inside a conductor is always going to be a zero. Now how do you explain this? Very simple. Whenever we are going to apply some external field, that is, when the field is applied externally to a conductor, that is a solid conductor. For example, I have taken a sphere over here. Now you can see that the external field is from left to right, and due to this what happens is the charges actually get accumulated on the opposite ends of the conductor. That is, the inside the conductor the electrons will start moving opposite to the direction of the external field and the positive charges will move along the direction of the external field. That is, they are going to get polarized. That is, on the inside the conductor gets polarized, and hence due to this polarization there is an induced electric field inside the conductor from in the direction opposite to that of the external electric field. And as a result, if you just find out what is the net electric field inside the conductor, you can see that the external field plus the internal induced electric field, the sum of these two you will find that it will be equal to 0. That is, the net electric field inside the conductor now becomes equal to 0, as the induced electric field is equal in magnitude to the external field, whereas opposite in direction to the external field, and hence the electrostatic field inside a conductor will always be equal to 0. So next we go to the next property, that is the second property. The second property states that at the surface of a charged conductor, electrostatic field must be normal to the surface at every point. So to understand this, let us have a diagram. In this diagram, you can see that the electric field direction is always in the radially outward direction with respect to the charged conductor. I have taken a sphere over here, and you can see that the charges, positive charges, are uniformly distributed all over the surface, and hence the electric lines of forces which are representing the direction of the field are going in the radially outward direction. And you can see that the electric field lines are normal to the surface of the charged conductor. However, let's consider that the electric field, instead of being normal, it is not normal in certain case. For example, I am going to take this diagram to explain about this. You can see that electric field is inclined at an angle theta with respect to the surface of the conductor. So in such a case, you can see that there is a tangential component of E cos theta appearing, and this E cos theta will now make sure that the positive charge or any charge which is present over here will now be actually experiencing an electrostatic force, and it starts to move on the surface of the conductor. Now remember one thing, we are talking about electrostatics, that is, we are actually talking about the static situation here. So in such kind of a static situation, we can see that the charges which are actually residing on the surface of the conductor are completely at rest. That is, they already have distributed amongst themselves in such a way that the electrostatic force experienced by them, the net electrostatic force experienced by them is as minimum as possible, and hence they are actually going to stay in their place and not going to move, which means this tangential component which should actually allow the charge to move doesn't exist. That is, if there is a component of electric field which is not along the normal, then obviously the tangential component will make sure that the charges are not completely at rest, which is not the case in reality. That is, any charge conductor will not have any kind of current flowing over its surface until and unless you apply an external field. So obviously the electric field associated with this particular charge conductor cannot be it should be always going to be normal to the surface at every point, and it cannot be inclined at a certain angle. So this is about the electric field being normal to the surface at every point. Now let's go to the next property. The next property, it states that the interior of a conductor can have no charge in static situation. To understand this, let us take a charged conductor with charges already residing over the surface, and electric field outside the surface is E bar, and inside the surface it is going to be equal to 0. Now remember one thing, I am going to apply the Gauss law for this small amount of volume element which I have taken over here. Now in this small element of volume V, I can safely say that the electric field everywhere inside the conductor is 0, which means even in the case of this volume element as well, the electric field is 0. So when I apply the Gauss theorem, I get that the flux is equal to E into delta S, that is the electric field multiplied by the surface area of this volume element V I am taking here, which is equal to Q by epsilon naught. Now according to this, we already know that E is equal to 0, that is the electric field inside is equal to 0, which allows me to safely say that the charges residing inside, that is the excess charges residing inside, also is equal to 0. So this is about the excess charge not being able to reside inside the charged conductor in case of a static situation. Now let's go to the next property. The fourth property is about electrostatic potential. Now electrostatic potential is constant throughout the volume of the conductor and has the same value as inside on its surface. Now remember one thing, here we already have proved that the electric field inside the conductor is already 0. So if electric field is zero inside the conductor, from the relation between the electric field and potential, which is nothing but V is equal to minus integral of E bar dot dr bar, where dr bar is the position vector, we can safely say that E bar is equal to 0 inside the conductor, which means obviously the integral will be on 0, that is we get V is equal to minus 0 dr, which is going to be a constant, which means that everywhere inside the conductor the potential always is going to remain a constant, and the value will be same as that on the surface of the conductor. So the next one is the electric field at the surface of a charged conductor is E bar equals to sigma by epsilon naught n cap. So how to do this? Very simple. Now to do this, let us take a charged conductor. Here I have taken a random shaped charged conductor, as you can see here. Now I am going to take a pillbox as shown in the diagram. Now half the pillbox is inside the conductor and half the pillbox I have taken it outside the conductor. And as already it was proved that the electric field is going to be normal to the surface area of the conductor, I have taken the electric field normally outwards through the pillbox. Now applying the Gauss theorem, we can see that phi is a delta phi, that is the flux which is coming out of this particular pillbox area delta S is going to be delta phi equals to E into delta S equals to Q by epsilon. Now remember one thing, here I have taken a charged conductor and we already know that the distribution of charges is going to be uniform when it comes to a charged conductor. So obviously the charged conductor will have a certain surface charge density. Let us consider that the surface charge density is going to be fixed and it is going to be sigma. So the total charge on the surface, that is in this particular area, the total charge which is residing in the on the surface area of delta S is going to be Q is equal to sigma into delta S. Now substituting for Q in the above equation, we get E delta S equal to sigma delta S by epsilon naught. We can see that delta S cancels out on either side and we get E is equal to modulus of sigma by epsilon naught. Now remember one thing, if the charges are positive, then sigma will be positive and E bar as well will be positive, and if sigma is negative, obviously E bar also will be negative, indicating that the electric field is normally into the surface and not out of the surface. That is, for positive charge density, the electric field will be normally pointing in the outward direction, whereas in case of negative charge density, the electric field will be pointing into the surface of the conductor. That is, if we have positive charges on the surface, electric field will be in the in the normally outward direction, and if the conductor is negatively charged, then electric field will be pointing normally into the surface. So this is about the electric field at the surface of a charged conductor. Now going to the last property of the most important one of them all, the electrostatic shielding. Now you might have already seen that many a times during the lightning, it is always said that it is better to be inside a car than outside the car to avoid the lightning. Now why is this? This is due to a phenomenon which we call it as the electrostatic shielding. Now what happens in this? It's a very simple phenomenon. Now this as well it makes use of the fact that the electric field inside a conductor is equal to 0. Now remember one thing, if we are going to consider a conductor with a cavity, the result will not be any different. That is, the electric field on the inside of the cavity or the interior of the cavity as well once again is equal to 0. The reason is very simple, because whatever the charges are residing inside, they are going to readjust in such a way that the net electric field inside the cavity once again is equal to 0, which means the potential will be constant. That is, the electric potential or the electrostatic potential inside the cavity once again is a constant, which means there will not be any kind of movement of the charges inside the conductor. that is inside the cavity of the conductor. So using this particular theory, we can see that since the electric potential is going to be constant and electric field inside the cavity is zero. Now if we are going to apply an external electric field, what is going to happen? It's a very simple thing. Once again, there is a charge polarization on the inner walls of the conductor, and thereby there is an internal electric field which is induced inside the conductor opposite to that direction of the external field, which will cancel out each other, and hence the net electric field inside the cavity once again is zero, which means since the electric field inside the cavity is zero, obviously the potential is constant, and hence there is no question of the charges moving to constitute the current inside the conductor. So the same phenomenon in which the external field applied to a conductor doesn't affect the cavity or the interiors of the cavity of the conductor, this particular phenomenon we call it as the electrostatic shielding. That is, the interior parts of the cavity are safe from whatever the effects the external field can pose to the interior objects which are present inside the conductor. Now to understand more about this, let us take the example of the car being struck by the lightning and what happens in it. So in this case, this is also one of the application of the electrostatic shielding. Now as you can see here, the lightning is continuously striking a car, and you can see that the car is unaffected by it. The reason is very simple. Whenever the lightning strikes the car, since it is completely closed, the charges cannot actually enter into the car, which means the car is completely closed, and inside the car the net electric field obviously is going to be zero. Next, the current then travels around, that is, whatever the charges are actually induced onto the outer frame of the car, now they will form a current due to the grounding effect. That is, since the car is in contact with the ground, the charges will now start moving on the surface of the car, and thereby they start moving on the outside of the vehicle, that is outer frame of the vehicle, thereby constituting a current. So this current now starts traveling outside the vehicle, that is on the frame of the vehicle, and finally the current actually starts moving to the ground, that is the current actually gets grounded, that is the charges start moving towards the ground and they get earthened over there. So thereby the charges will be actually starting only moving outside the car and not into the car. Thereby whoever is present inside the car is not going to be electrocuted, and they are actually going to be saved. So this is how the electrostatic shielding actually works in case of the lightning which strikes the car. So this is about your electrostatic properties of the conductors. Thank you for watching the video.